What's going on, fellow A-plusers? It's your boy, Adam Perez, back once again with a brand new episode review of Andor's. We're going to get into episode number 9, Nobody's Listening, according to Andor. That is also the title of this particular week's episode. As we can see, Andor's still inside of his prison, very much under the belief that nobody's really paying attention to who they are as prisoners, what they're certainly saying, really trying to go ahead and bring other people on board to really, it seems like he's planning some sort of prison escape. And I think that would be pretty epic to certainly see, honestly. The idea that the first 6 episodes built up to a heist, and maybe the last 6 episodes possibly building up onto some sort of prison break, which I think would be just as enticing and exciting as the heist that we wind up getting. So I'm really intrigued to kind of see who Andor will certainly bring into the fold, as it seems as though Andy Serki, his character, who for the most part has been pretty a stickler for keeping your head down, do your job. I'm just trying to get to the end of my sentencing so I can get the hell out of here, sort of thing. You should do the same thing. He's now seemingly kind of coming around now that he's seen how really the Empire is treating these people. Their poor friend Olaf, I believe his name might have been, passing away, or at least just having a stroke at the end of this episode. I think he only had a couple more days certainly left to live. Seeing how the doctor handled him, seeing the other information that's coming out of other areas of that prison, the idea that I think like level 2, everybody wind up getting fried, sort of thing. The idea that when they say that you're leaving, they literally just move you to another level instead of letting you go. And so it feels like it's a gigantic circle, and the Empire really has no intention of letting any of these people go. And I think it really opens up the mind to the Andy Serkis character in here and saying, you know what, you might be onto something, Andor. So it's going to be pretty fascinating. I think going into episodes 10, 11, and 12 to really see the game plan that's coming here for Andor. And so I'm really excited. Again, the idea that this season is taking 2 arcs for Andor, I think is pretty awesome. And I think people are really going to be on board with it. Like, I even found it fascinating that he was talking to somebody else at one of the other tables that were, putting in their work, counting steps, trying to see not the electricity, but where the signal for whatever, the button that they use to torture and punish the prisoners. It's the reason why they're sort of all wearing barefoot, and the prisoners, the Empire officers are not, that they're certainly wearing their boots, if you will. And so, they're definitely keeping an eye on things. Andor and them are really painstakingly have a very good eye for detail, and are certainly taking mental notes in how to possibly go ahead and break it out. And I do believe the information that Andy Serkis' character gives them about, especially at the end, that there's 12 guards to a level, easy. Well, maybe not easy, but my thing is, if you have enough people that are certainly on board with you, I am curious if Andor feels that he can maybe even muster up his whole particular division, especially if it's only 12 people, and if their math is right in regards to maybe the floors not being electrified or not having those sort of sensors on there. Maybe you can certainly sort of get away, maybe beat up the guards, take their boots 2, 3 at a time, move on to the next level, defeat those guys, take their boots and maybe give them to more people inside. Who certainly knows? But the fact that Tony Gilroy, the showrunner for the show, has done an amazing job of just storytelling, giving us great details, amazing character work also. The idea that we built up very slowly to the heist, which was pretty epic. I think the prison break is going to certainly live up to the hype of the heist as well, and give us 2 fantastic moments for this Andor series. So definitely wanted to talk about the Andor situation a little bit more. But, it's just fascinating to me, the idea that these guys just like can just be fried at any particular point in time. I mean, can you imagine the idea of just standing there in the cube, like listening to directions, doing what you're supposed to do, but then just being fried for no particular reason, sort of thing. And the punishment just looks terrifying. It looks extremely painful. And so it definitely adds some sort of level of stakes to this particular season. But let me know what you guys think so far about the Andor storyline here of him in prison. And it's just cool to see Andy Serkis. I'm a huge Andy Serkis fan, so to see him involved, I think is pretty good. And I also want to go ahead and talk about the Empire here a little bit too, because believe it or not, one of my favorite characters in this series so far is the Imperial officer Dedra. I love the fact of where she's kind of come from, in the sense of like her own confidence in herself, or a very smart woman making these connections between the rebel attacks on these Imperial bases, and understanding that this is part of a much bigger scale operation that the Empire is just not privy to. And while she's definitely has had to go over her own sets of hurdles, her determination and her knowledge has really gathered the attention of her Imperial officers, who are now giving her the opportunity to shine. And shine she certainly is. I am kind of curious about the homeboy that like is working with her assistant. The fact that he's kind of standing up and talking without being recognized, it feels like he's getting a little bold, you know. I don't know if he sees a career opportunity here opening up itself for like a promotion, so he wants to show what he's capable of also, that it's not just all Dedra. But the way that Dedra looks at him is like, bro, what are you doing? Like, where are you coming out with this information? Like, I know what I'm doing here. But he certainly has helped in the sense of pushing it along, getting maybe some of the men in the Imperial officers to actually take her seriously and maybe believe her a little bit, because once he mentions the idea of Andor being clean shaven, seeing that Dedra's also trying to connect Andor to the events of what happened on Aldhani, and them already trying to find where Andor certainly is, you are certainly starting to get sort of the bigger picture here. And so for me, the idea of seeing Dedra where she was at the beginning of this season to now, and actually having her voice heard, knowing that she's actually correct, I'm like, man, you better get those rebels, girl. Like, I don't want her to, but she's such a great character that there's a part of me that's really rooting for her to get as far as you possibly can and still be defeated. That's what I'm really hoping for. But we'll see how it turns out. But I did love the sequences here with Dedra here this week. And it seems as though for the most part, she has almost all the answers that she needs. There are definitely some missing pieces in here. But I think the idea of her interrogating Bix in this episode and torturing her really did go a long way. They clearly got information out of Bix. And it seems as though they are very much already suspecting the idea that the rebellion not only has a buyer, but also a financial backer. And when they start referencing and talking about the idea of like, who did Andor meet with, we realize that there's somebody that's funneling finances to them, sort of thing. It feels like it just puts Mon Mothma and Luthen immediately on the radar. And it does make me wonder if they're going to be found out by the end of this particular season. It feels like they're so close and on the trail. I don't even necessarily know if you need to find Andor in order to kind of make those two connections for Mon Mothma and Luthen, but it's definitely going to be interesting to see how far Dedra will certainly go to certainly find them. But it feels very much like she knows something's bigger going on. She has an idea that there are a couple head figures there, and it's just a matter of time before their identities are certainly revealed. But yeah, she's definitely turning out to be one of my favorite characters, and she winds up having a really awkward interaction with Cyril in here, who seems so determined to work with her or be a part of whatever she's partaking in. The man literally like grabs her by her arm while she's pulling him away. And it's just got this really creepy vibe. Like, it's not it almost feels like it's not just the idea of, hey, you're going after Andor, I want to help you. But it almost feels like a weird fascination with Dedra and an appreciation and sort of like a weird attraction that he kind of has for her in regards to how she's handling her business and going about things, sort of thing. Like it just felt really awkward. Like even Dedra kind of came across like, I don't even know what's happening right now or how to react to the situation, but you better get your hands off me or you're going to be in trouble. Like, it just came across really, really, like, just weird and creepy, bro. Like, just creepy vibes all day long. And so, but, you know, I still think that at some point in time, they will combine and help each other out, unless Cyril just kind of goes more AWOL and just does what he needs to do in an attempt to try and find Andor and hurt him himself. Maybe it'll be interesting to find out how they discover where Andor is. If it's Cyril that discovers that, if it's Dedra that discovers that. I think the idea of her assistant saying that he was clean shaven maybe might open up some eyes in the sense that, hey, we know he left, you know he's on the run, sort of thing. Maybe they'll be able to keep an eye out as to where he might pop up in the galaxy at another time. So good luck, Dedra. Good luck, Dedra. But for me, I've really enjoyed her rise to power in this sense, where she's actually has the ear of the people that are definitely important, and that's definitely what you need. One of the big surprises that I also found out in this episode, changing gears to one last character we'll talk about in here, Mon Mothma and Vel. I think the discovery of Vel being Mon Mothma's kid's aunt, and technically, I guess now that would mean Mon Mothma and Vel are technically sisters. Is that right? I believe that's the hierarchy of like parentage and stuff, right? Like your parents have a son or a child. Your parents' brother is then. Wait. Huh? No, so they're not. Yeah, they're sisters. Yeah, they've got to be sisters, right? Mon Mothma, the sister to Mon Mothma would be Vel. If Mon Mothma had a child, that would be her aunt. So yeah, they got to be aunt. That's got to be her aunt. That's just bananas to me. That's so crazy to me. You know, I thought the connection to the rebellion here was Mon Mothma to Luthen, in the sense of being a financial backer, but she definitely has some stake in this rebellion in the sense of having a younger sister that feels very much behind the rebellion, much more determined and much more like in the rebellion than even Mon Mothma, who is still very much just feeling very uneasy about a lot of her decisions, you know, doubting herself, having second thoughts, sort of thing. And we even see Vel in here kind of like, I don't want to say smacking her to be like, get back into the right mindset, sort of thing. But she definitely tries to push Mon Mothma's buttons in the sense of like, this is what you signed up for. You know, you gave us a vow, man up, you know, pull those panties up, girl. Like, we got to get back to work, sort of thing. Like, I love the idea, even when Mon Mothma's in this episode, like, you know, what does he have you doing? You know, Vel just answers, who? Like, who you talking about? Like, you can't be talking about this just open, nonchalantly, where you've got all these eyes around you constantly watching. Like, Mon Mothma feels like the weakest link out of everybody in here. And there is a part of me that wonders if she's going to end up getting caught and busted. Like, when we see her in, what is it, A New Hope, when she's given this speech, you know, she's literally hanging out with the rebels. And it makes me wonder if she's still holding a position of power, if she's gotten cut off and has left, and now she just hangs out with the rebellion. Same thing when we saw her in Rogue One. You know, we never saw her in the Senate. We saw her hanging out with the rebels. So I do wonder if season 1 she winds up getting busted, you know, this early on, or if it's at some particular point later in the timeline when we get to season 2. But she feels like the weakest link just because she doesn't seem like she's got the nerve for what she's doing. And the fact that now she's being pushed to do even more as she winds up communicating with Tay in here, trying to get more money, if you will, letting her know like, hey, the way that you did this of taking 400,000 credits and then just erasing it from, you know, the logs and stuff, like, that's suspicious as hell. Like, you went about this the whole wrong way, and in a matter of time they're gonna catch you. Like, you've got to replenish that $400,000, and now Tay's got her asking for a loan for some thug, you know, from some thug that she doesn't even want to meet with, who wants to meet with her. And it feels like he even wants to meet, when he says he wants to meet you here, it's like, you want to meet me in my own home? Like, no, that's not going to happen. So feels like a lot of bad decisions that Mon Mothma has made, that might bring even more eyes to her, and just a terrible timing when the Empire is really locking things down. I mean, even Dedra talks about the idea of the communications tower Bix was trying to reach out to Luthen on and stuff, really just making these much bigger connections. And if Dedra can make those connections and understand that there is somebody being a financial backer, it's just a matter of time before they discover Mon Mothma as well, in regards to this. But some pretty interesting stuff in here, man. Like, I kind of dig the idea that Vel and Mon Mothma are related. They feel almost complete opposites, whereas I guess one, like you said, does have a spine, and knows what she's fighting for, and the other one still very much trying to figure things out for herself. And I even appreciated Vel recycling the line that Cinta gave to her previously, in the sense of, putting the rebellion first. Anything after that, if we've got time, we'll deal with it sort of mentality. Really just trying to do her best in getting Mon Mothma sort of back on her P's and Q's sort of thing. So some really great revelations in here. Some pretty surprising twists. My favorite character, Dedra, continuing to climb that ladder, and get what she needs in order to find these rebels. Just a really great episode, and something to really look forward to when we possibly might get ourselves an Andor prison break. So they continue to keep up the amazing work. This feels very much like adult Star Wars, like Star Wars for adults. Like, you've grown up when you're watching this particular series. Nothing wrong with lightsabers. Like, I love me some great lightsaber battles, some great smugglers. Give me Sith all day. But I really love Tony Gilroy's just approach to Star Wars, and how grounded he certainly has made it feel, but very much engulfed in this particular universe. So I got to give him props for that. But overall, guys, again, these are just simply my A+ opinions. At the end of the day, I want to know yours. What did you guys think about Andor episode number 9? Let your thoughts be known in the comment section box below. And we'll certainly go ahead and continue this discussion throughout the week over on our Discord forum community, guys. If you'd like to, there is a link in the description box below. We've got our section for Andor. And if you want to go ahead and talk about this week's episode, definitely go ahead and join us there as well. But until next time, do me a big favor as always. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. May the Force be with you. Take care, guys. Bye.